I'm Rae Pardini Madsen, and this is the Coffee Monday podcast. Here, we talk about all the things, the messy, the meaningful, and everything in between that fuels your week. I sit down with people who are figuring it out, leveling it up, and keeping it real all along the way. All right, friends, let's pour into it. Megan Velo, marriage and family therapist here, and many other credentials added to her name, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm
This is so fun.
so excited you're here. We've known each other for years personally, and now fast forward lots of years later, moms, careers, all the things. So I'm excited to catch up with you and hear what you've been up to and see how you've been serving our mom community here, which is tremendously important.
Yeah.
For those that don't know you, I always like to start with a little intro. So Megan, you want to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah. I am Megan Velo, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm a mom of two. I've been married for almost 11 years, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Love it.
I'm also a supervisor for therapists in training, so that's another component of my career too.
So did you always know you wanted to go into this field?
I thought for a while I wanted to be a teacher, but I was a lot of times in my friend group the peacekeeper. I didn't like conflict. I would try to mediate. So I kind of always had that natural draw to talking things out and everything. So that was always in me, but I didn't really know. I hadn't been exposed to a lot of therapy or anything like that when I was younger. So I didn't really know it was a thing. And so, then I landed there.
And how'd you start in your career? So you went to school for this, obviously.
Yeah, I went to grad school and got my master's in counseling, and then I ended up in one of the school districts here, and I was working with a lot of kids who had IEPs for emotional disturbance, and so I was there for 3 years, and I loved being in the schools, but it just wasn't where I saw my future, and I was just very emotionally draining. So I just knew that I needed a better work-life balance.
Right.
And that was before kids. So that was the best thing I ever did, was leave and go to an agency here. And that's where I got licensed. And that just changed the dynamic for me, because I'm able to make my own schedule and be mom when I want to be mom, do pickup, drop-offs, and be able to schedule my clients in between all that. And it's hard to juggle it all, for sure. Sometimes I wish it was a little bit more clean cut. That sometimes would feel maybe a little bit more just predictable. But I'm just so thankful that I'm able to be there with the kids and still have this career.
Okay. And tell listeners how old your kiddos are.
I have a 4-year-old son and a 6.5-year-old daughter. She's almost 7.
So sweet.
So out of the baby fog, but now in a different part of my brain
fun,
is being accessed.
Right?
It is so fun.
You really said is. 6.5. It made me think of it. Gwen, my oldest, she just turned 8.5 on June 15th. Oh my gosh. And out of nowhere, we're driving in the car. She's like, surprise. I'm like, surprise? Why are we surprised? I'm 8.5 today. It was like a whole thing.
Wow.
But it's very cute. That half counts, man. You're one step closer to the next. That's sweet.
Yeah.
I just want to give listeners context to sort of where you are in your motherhood journey and all the things. So I do think, too, you bring up a good point with like flexibility. I feel like I like predictability. I like structure. We all could use a plan and have everything planned to the minute, I'm sure. But how have you navigated finding what's right for your schedule and your time?
That's a hard question, because I don't know that I have.
Yeah. How you're getting through it. How are you getting through it? How are you working through it, I guess?
I think it's something that I'm constantly having to reflect on in terms of work-life balance, of how many clients is too many, when to say no to things, when to say yes to things. I'm definitely a doer. I'm an achiever. I want to type A, be productive. And so that is a work in progress for me, for sure, of just, knowing what's going on internally and being aware of that and checking in with myself and taking care of myself, which is really hard for moms. So it's a hard balance, but it's a continual thing that I'm needing to process and check in about. Right.
So when you started your private practice, let's talk through that a little bit. We were kind of discussing off air, so I want to make sure we share. You were obviously wanting more flexibility in your schedule. And essentially doing similar work, but just on your own terms, kind of, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, in the schools, it's like you go from 7 to 3:30 and you're there. You have great vacation, but I just felt like I was burned out, and I wanted to be able to wake up and start my day when I wanted to, take Fridays off, take a vacation when I wanted to, and have that flexibility. And, you know, you can do that with this career. You can have that. And so I started to build that slowly as an associate. And then when I got licensed, I was really in that groove. And that's, I was, I think, a year licensed when I had my first child. So I was really in a sweet spot for that. And then transitioning into private practice, like, the world is your oyster, because especially for me, I'm a virtual therapist. So I don't have a space. So I don't have to be somewhere at a certain day, only that day. I can see clients whenever. Sometimes I see clients on Sundays, because that is great for parents. For moms, their husbands are home or their partners are home, and they have childcare, and that's great. And so that works out for both of us, because we both have childcare and we can meet and be focused, and we don't have kids, you know, in and out.
Well, and there's less barriers to not, right? Because I feel like the mom guilt kicks in when you do something for yourself, when you could be doing something for your kids or your family or whatever, right? That's a real thing, which we'll get into. So there's less sort of like barriers to not go, right? You don't have to get anywhere. You don't have to find necessarily childcare. So that's tremendous.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like if nothing else, COVID gave us Zoom.
It totally did.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about the power of meeting in person. I love meeting in person, all about it. But there is something about the convenience of Zoom that's so nice. And you can get so much done.
Yeah. Before COVID, I had only ever seen one client virtually. And that was
and it was
they
probably
were traveling.
like a big deal.
Yeah, it was. It was like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
And like all that. And then now, it's just so, it's one gift that we were given.
I agree.
Especially, for busy people.
And you mentioned too, since starting your private practice, a lot of your clients are moms. Let's talk through that. However you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah, I always felt like moms were just, I was interested in that population, but being in an agency, you just kind of get whoever is calls in. And that was a great experience for me too, because it was very diverse, and I got to work on a lot of different skills and everything. But as I ventured into private practice, I knew that was where my heart was. I had a really hard postpartum experience with my daughter. I had postpartum OCD, which is where you have intrusive thoughts of something bad happening to your kids. Not that you want to do that, but mine was like, someone might break in and take her, or I might trip and fall. So I was constantly having these thoughts. I was a therapist. I didn't even know what that was at that point. So I just was like, I don't want any other mom to ever feel like this ever again. So I need to figure out how to help people.
Yeah.
So that's when I really started to pursue my CEUs, my extra trainings that we have to do in the motherhood realm. And so I ended up getting my PMHC, which is perinatal mental health certificate. So it's extra training, extra test for those letters on your name to show, like, I know how to really sit with people who are walking through this. So that includes so many different things, like, miscarriage, infertility, a postpartum into pregnancy and into motherhood. So
that's amazing. Because, wow, that is amazing. I'm thinking about so many people who could benefit from that. Friends. And, I mean, I've experienced multiple miscarriages myself, and I think it's something that women don't talk about.
Totally.
There's a lot that women don't talk about. Maybe women have had postpartum OCD and they didn't even know it, or postpartum depression, or countless other things. Even they say, I don't know if this is the proper term, but like baby blues, it's not, there's a lot going on with your hormones and your body and your family and all the things. That's tremendous. I love that you're doing that work.
It's really
so
special.
important.
It's really sacred, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I sit with my clients and I'm just so thankful for what they share with me. And I've also gone through 2 miscarriages as well. And we're walking through infertility right now, trying to have our 3rd. And so I truly feel like I had to walk through those things to learn to sit with my clients. Like, I could do that before, but now I just have that deeper understanding of just like what that pain feels like. So in session, we don't generally say like, oh, I went through that. It's not like a conversation like this where it's like you shared that and then I shared that back. In therapy, it's like you shared and I'm like, oh wow, tell me more about that.
Right.
And the focus is you, but I'm able to draw on my own experiences and my own pain and place them in words that the client has never been able to do before.
Yeah.
And they're
amazing.
like, wow, I just like haven't been able to do that. And especially with miscarriage and infertility too, there's so much grief that comes with that.
Beyond.
And a lot of times we don't talk about, we're not given permission in our culture to experience that or express that. We're just told like, it's for the better, that it will happen when it's supposed to. And so just giving them a space to grieve and it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to honor that loss and all those things. Like, it's such sacred work. And I'm just honestly so just blessed to sit with people amazing. As I walk through that.
So, I mean, and I think about like a doula, for example. Do you ever work with doulas like for a client?
Not directly, but indirectly we'll refer back and forth to each other.
I kind of feel like that there would be some synergy there.
Yeah.
As far as like physical in-person support, but also mental support, right?
Yeah.
Doulas were not a thing when I had kids, and now I feel like they're very common.
Yeah.
Very common.
And any person, support person that can come alongside you in motherhood, to me is a win.
I agree.
Because it's hard to do it all on your own. So whoever can come and be a part of your tribe, that is awesome.
Well, amen. Shout it from the rooftops. I started Mother Upload after I had Gwen, my oldest, because I was pregnant and then I had a newborn and I was working. And I'm like, how do we do this? Like, I legitimately don't understand how moms can do all the things we do in a day, work outside the home, and get dinner on the table at a decent time. Somehow the laundry needs to get done.
Right.
Dishes. Oh, and by the way, my husband, let me pay, have some quality time with him. There's a lot there. And I would vent to my friends about it. Like, you guys, how are we doing this? Can we figure it out? Because we're all kind of in the same, season of life. And everyone's like, I know. Why aren't we talking about this? I'm like, well, let's talk about it. So I started Mother Upload 8 years ago. We would meet second Thursday of the month, 6 to 8, and we would like chat and just really vent about all the things. And I think what you're saying is just tremendous because I don't know. I mean, I would love to hear your perspective, like from your work and your clients, but I felt like there's just something comforting to know that they're not alone. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Dutch Bros, and they've officially dropped their summer drink menu. They have an all-new Mist Energy Refresher, which is a plant-powered energy drink with electrolytes, antioxidants, and if you order a medium, it's under 100 calories. It's perfect for that little afternoon pick-me-up, and of course, Dutch Bros style, you can customize it with a ton of different flavor combos. I've had my eye on the tropical and cherry lime, which sounds fantastic. They're also bringing back 2 fan favorites, the Dolce de Leche, which is basically dessert in a cup with caramel, white chocolate, cinnamon, and that famous soft top, and the Strawberry Colada, a tropical blend of pineapple, coconut, and strawberry that's basically summer in a cup. So whether you're heading to the office, running around town with kiddos and camps, or just need a little boost, swing by your local Dutch Bros Coffee and give one of these summer drinks a try. They're available for a limited time, so don't wait, friends. Coffee cheers.
Totally. I think a lot of times moms think they're the only ones that are struggling or drowning or feel like a bad mom, feel like a bad wife, whatever it might be. I think that there's a lot of loneliness and isolation in that. There's a lot of comparison, which I'm sure we'll dive into, but there's a lot of comparison of she's doing it so much better, or she loves motherhood and I don't love these parts of motherhood and all of that. So just being able to have a space where you can talk about that and feel seen is life-giving for sure.
100%. God, I have so many things we could talk about right now. Why do you feel like conversations around motherhood are like heavier than others? Like it's a heavy load to bear.
Yeah, I think motherhood is more complex than we initially thought. You know, I think going into motherhood, we think it's raising kids and, you know, teaching them how to be a good human, but it's so much more than that. And I think it feels heavy because we feel the seriousness of it, right? Like we're literally shaping humans and we're teaching them how to be good. Like the weight of that feels so heavy on us as moms. Of everything feels like I'm teaching you how to go out there and give back or be a good person, you know, and that's heavy.
It's heavy, but there's also like a factor of like overwhelm. Like you're overwhelmed, right? Like what advice would you have for like a new mom that's like feeling all the feels, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of advice that I would give.
I'm sure.
But I would say don't do it alone. Don't do motherhood in isolation. And I would also say don't compare yourself to strangers on the internet. And it's okay to not enjoy it all. It's okay to love parts of it and not like other parts of it. I think especially if you've gone through loss and infertility, there's just there's a pressure for all moms to feel like I have to enjoy it because I know what a blessing this is and I know what a gift this child is and what motherhood is. And so every time I feel like I'm not enjoying something, that makes me a bad mom or whatever. I think it's just okay to accept that there are going to be parts that like don't feel good. And it's not just the messy parts, not just like the sicknesses or the sleepless nights. Sometimes it's like, I'll be honest, for me, I don't like imaginary play. Like that to me is really, really hard to sit and be like, okay, you know? And I felt like a bad mom at times because I saw some friends being like, yeah, we just sit on the floor and play. And I'm like, that sounds so hard to me. But I just have to accept that that's not one of my gifts as a mom. I have a lot of gifts and imaginary play is not one of them.
I love this perspective. That is so true. Like, why do we feel like we're bad moms if we can't deliver on something or if we don't love to do something or, you know, I don't know, unpopular opinion, but I love the newborn baby snuggles, the sleeping on the chest, the smells, the little breathing. Like, I do genuinely miss those times. What I don't miss is literally everything else about the newborn phase. Yeah. Personally. I need my sleep. Breastfeeding was consuming. There's a lot.
Yes.
And I personally feel like it keeps getting better. And then I actually have had moments where I feel guilty saying that. Why? I do feel guilty saying that because then everyone's like, oh, the years are fleeting. You'll never I know they are. I look back and I cry at photos because I can't believe my babies are getting so big. It's not that I don't miss it. It's just like those weren't some of my faves.
Totally.
That sounds really bad though. Like, why do we feel bad about saying stuff like that? Or like the imaginary play thing. It's like, to your point, social media has a way of romanticizing everything. But we only see the good on social media.
Yeah, it's really easy to curate a really beautiful life on Instagram, you know?
Right.
And so I think that, you know, we have a lot of things in life that make our motherhood maybe more convenient or easier than our mother's motherhood. You know, Amazon Prime, Target Drive Up. Like, I don't know how they survived without grocery Drive Up before. You know, that is like a gift to us. The opposite of that, of like our Achilles, you know, tendon is that we have social media, and our moms did not have that. They didn't have the constant comparison of what everyone was doing in the summer and what camps and what trips and like what they were wearing and like how someone's body looks, you know, 6 weeks after they have a baby versus their own. They didn't have a ton of that in their face all the time. Right. And now we do. It's a constant stream of, especially if your feed is curated to motherhood, it's a constant stream of what every other mother is doing and how well they're thriving. And that is just a tiny little picture versus what you're looking at, which is your kids are screaming and fighting and like you're crying and, you know, you don't have nothing that fits in your closet and you're like, how come she's doing so well and I'm just like struggling so much? It's like we just don't see the behind the scenes, and it's not fair to compare your reality to somebody's like picture perfect, you know.
I know, but then how do you navigate that? Because, you know, that's so real. That is so real. We're all human. We all have feelings. It's natural to have those thoughts. All that to be said, what if you like just genuinely enjoy social media and want to be on it?
Yeah,
you know,
I don't think social media is like the worst thing in the world,
right?
Or you should just avoid it. I think you have to do a lot of check-in of like, how do I feel when I put my phone down after that scroll?
I like that.
Am I like beating myself up? Am I like, oh, I gotta go like work out right now because I saw this bounce back video after giving birth and now I feel that's not what but if you genuinely are like, I like looking at pretty things and like it gives me ideas and I feel good about
Inspired.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and
I love
think
that.
It depends on your season you're in. You may go through a season where you need to really step back. You may go through a season where it's not impacting you, but it's like a continual reflection of what do I feel when I'm, taking in this media. That
is so great. That is tremendous advice. I feel that about certain accounts. Like if I'm looking at their content, I'm like, am I consistently feeling good? Is this inspiring me? Am I getting something from this without shopping on Instagram? It's like, so that's good. How have you used it as a tool to communicate with, not necessarily your clients, but like potential clients, moms, community?
Well, it's definitely a great magnet for new clients. That's really where I think people are finding Instagram therapists or social media therapists are kind of a newer thing. It is an interesting thing to dabble in because ethically we're all trying to figure it out. There's a lot of ethics for us on what we can share, what we can't share. And I think some of us, we're kind of pushing those boundaries a little bit. Like for me, for example, when I first started, I was very blank slate. That's what it's called. Kind of what we're trained in grad school is to just not share anything. With my population, with moms, a complete blank slate therapist is not really, I think, what they're looking for. I think they want to know tiny, appropriate bits and pieces. That doesn't mean I'm sharing that in session all the time, but when they're sharing something and I feel like I can relate to that, I might share like a funny little thing or just something like, I work from home. So there's been times when my kids are like, I can hear them yelling and I'm like, I'm sorry if you can hear the kids or whatever. And they think it's funny, and it's still very professional. It's just a once in a blue moon thing that happens.
Right.
But they get it because they're moms and it makes it feel like, hey, that happens to me too.
Totally.
In meetings. So
totally.
I think that's part of it. But even just me sharing about my miscarriages on social media and the infertility and stuff, that was really hard for me to navigate. Am I going to share this? Am I not? Because we're just taught not to. We're taught to hold that back.
Especially for your profession.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I have learned that I feel like I can share things that I feel comfortable sharing and I don't have to share my whole story.
Yeah.
I can share the pieces that I feel confident in where I'm at emotionally with them. And I don't have to show you all the behind the scenes. So I can still connect and be vulnerable. But I think boundaries are important too for everybody, but especially, in the therapy world.
Well, and I think it's like anything, right? Like in my experiences with therapy and trying to find a therapist that I could sort of jive with, there's like a nugget of like, are you human? Like, can we like get a little taste of like who you are? Cause I'm really unloading here. So I kind of love that.
Yeah.
Like there's something about giving a little to be able to receive a lot, So in a world where social media is in our faces, where AI is like your new assistant, how are you navigating that in your profession? Like, what does that look like for, I just want people to be educated on the fact that like what they're seeing on social and maybe what they're getting from ChatGPT isn't like necessarily accurate. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's a weird time.
It is a weird time. I think especially as parents, I think as our kids get older and they get on, whatever devices they're on, which for my kids will be 25.
I was going to say, are we going down that road? Because literally, like, you can't get a phone until you go to college.
Yeah, exactly. But I just know where I supervise, we get a lot of teens, and it's a lot of self-fulfilling prophecies that we see. Kids, teens, and adults we do this too, but we get on social media, we see, oh, these are the symptoms you might have if you have this, and then all of a sudden we're experiencing that. And there are some legitimate things that come out of, why I share is because I want to bring knowledge and moms to understand, oh, that might be something I'm experiencing. So there is some perks to that, but I think we're over self-diagnosing when we're looking at things, and I think that gets tricky.
100%.
And then you're absorbing media from, a social media therapist, and you think that replaces therapy, and it actually really does not, because you have so much personal stuff that not everyone's story is the same. Childhood stuff that we need to process. There's so much more of that.
There's so much more of that. So in when we talk about the mental load that mothers carry, and there's different stages of life of motherhood, I have found a lot of friends struggle with finding themselves post children, like sort of almost mourning the person they were before a little bit. And like, even as it relates to work, like, why do I feel guilty that I want to work, or that I shouldn't work? Because there's a lot of dynamics, and everybody's situation is different. But how do you suggest like some women navigate that like crisis of pre-kids and post-kids, that's a real thing.
Yeah, it is. And I definitely went through that too. I remember like day 3 of being a mom, I was like, I literally can't even go to the grocery store anymore without figuring out what she needs me, or if I need to, all that. And that felt like such an identity crisis for me. And I think that's really why for a lot of women, 0 to 1 is the hardest. So, some women will say differently, and that everyone has their own experience, but I noticed that a lot with my clients, is that 0 to 1 transition. And me personally, that was a whole entire identity shift. I went from not being a mom, doing my own thing, having my routines, to my world revolved around, this baby. And so there were parts of my life, and sometimes there still are parts of my life that I miss, that freedom, that flexibility, things I used to enjoy doing that I don't get to do anymore. And I think those are always going to exist. And when we feel bad and guilty, it just creates this shame cycle that we can't break out of. So if we can just accept that, there's going to be, I can love motherhood, I can love my kids, and I can also hold a little bit of that grief of missing certain parts of me at the same time, that coexisting dynamic is really the healthiest place to be.
I love that. And then we get into the mom guilt. Mom guilt is a real thing.
It's very real.
Like, what do you have to say? Like, I don't even know what to ask or what to say, because there's so much to unpack there. And I know obviously you work with your clients on this regularly, I'm sure. You mentioned something earlier about your postpartum OCD, and it got me thinking, like, I don't even know if it's like biological or what, but there is like a switch that flips when you become a mom, that worry like escalates tremendously.
For sure.
Right? Like, I know I'm not alone on that.
Definitely not.
And some levels of worry and some sort of parenting styles are all different. But I think personally with worry comes with the guilt, right? There's worry of, am I doing enough? Am I present enough? Am I working too much? Am I all the things?
Yeah, and I want to make a distinction, because I think there's mom guilt and then there's mom shame that we feel. And Brene Brown, well-known author, talks about the difference between those two of those. Mom guilt, or guilt is I did something bad. Shame is I am bad. And I think that mom guilt is always going to be a part of what we experience. And I'll touch on that a little bit more. But what gets really dangerous is when mom guilt becomes mom shame. So when we start to feel like I'm not doing enough, I must be a bad mom, then our whole identity around badness, us being not good enough, gets so cemented into us. That is the hardest thing to break out of.
Because then you're convinced that's true.
And then that's your destiny, right? So having some mom guilt is normal, and that's one thing. But the dangerous thing is when that starts to become, I'm a bad wife, I'm a bad, I'm bad at my career, I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough. All of those things, when it starts to become part of who we are, is a very scary territory to be in.
Yeah. I know you were saying it, you're going to expand on that a little bit more. Like, how do you prevent that from happening?
So I think it's noticing what tape you're playing in your brain. Is my tape that I'm playing mostly negative? Am I saying, oh man, I was too hard on my kids today. Gosh, I did that yesterday too. And oh man, I'm not there for bedtime tonight. And they're probably going to know. And then they're going to think I'm a bad mom. What is your tape playing? I always ask my clients, I want to know the percentage of positive thoughts about yourself and negative thoughts. Because most of the time we are operating on negative thoughts as moms, I would say.
You guys know how I love when brands and campaigns have real heart behind them, and this one feels especially meaningful. If you know my girls, then you know that peaches are basically a food group in our house, especially for our Livy. They are her absolute favorite. Peach smoothies, peaches sliced up in her lunch, all of it. So when I heard about Peaches for Pink, it instantly felt personal. After all, pink is also our favorite color. But in this case, the color and the partnership mean so much more. This summer, Trinity Fruit Company and Sun Valley Packing are donating $100,000 from their peaches to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, BCRF, regardless of sales, which I think says so much about the heart behind this initiative. Their brand, Farm to You, is also helping bring awareness to the campaign through their special 2-pound peach pouch bags designed to support BCRF's mission to prevent and cure breast cancer through groundbreaking research. This campaign is one of those reminders that even small, everyday choices can support something much bigger. So next time, when you're grabbing your peaches at the store, keep an eye out for the Peaches for Pink bags, because peaches just taste a little sweeter when they're giving back.
So the term mental load is a newer term. I mean, even 5-6 years ago when we first became moms, that wasn't really talked about. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that we're naming what it is to give women the name and how to verbalize it so that we can start to verbalize, this is too much for me. And this is how you can take things off of my plate for me.
Hi, what advice do you give to somebody navigating that? Because anything that feels like it's admitting fault, or I need help, or I want to go to therapy, or I want to go work out, feels selfish, kicking in the mom guilt, and then eventually potentially mom shame, which that was an interesting, I didn't really dive into that. So, how do you navigate that? Like feeling when somebody feels like they're feeling selfish for doing these things.
I mean, I think we have to look at a lot of times moms are even neglecting their basic needs,
literally like dental appointments, doctor appointments, literally
nutrition, hydration. And that is not a sustainable motherhood. It's not something we can sustain. Moving our bodies is important.
That too, the workouts.
Yeah. And so we're a bad mom because we're taking care of ourselves. I would say if you're really struggling, I mean, just even making sure you're getting your basic needs met and knowing that like that is necessary for you to be a mom, be a present mom. And I think sometimes I have to talk with my clients about that is we have to sacrifice sometimes feeling like we can do it all in order to really take care of ourselves so that we can be a mom for the long run.
It made me think of your recent post. I'm going to pull it up. And it was about the summer stuff. Okay, you said we need to talk about summer, first of all.
Yeah.
Because
we're not well.
We are not well. I mean, yeah, Megan, I'm not well. But also, you said it was, just checking in to remind you that your kids don't need a magical summer. They need a regulated parent who isn't completely burnt out. Like, I loved that.
Yeah.
Like, we can't be who we want to be without the basics, right?
Yes, totally. Yeah, I realized recently I realized that I have been like really overdoing and just I'm burned out. Like I've just had this awareness of like I'm overdoing to avoid feeling. And right before I realized that, I was like, I'm going to have the summer of yes. I'm going to say yes to my kids, and we're going to do all these fun things, and we're all going to. Yeah. And thankfully, I had the realization of like, you're probably burned out. You need to chill out. Like, being at home is okay, because I think that changed the trajectory of my summer.
Yes.
But I had this high pressure on myself of like, I got to make this summer so fun for the kids so we can make so many memories, so they can always, reflect back on how great summers were. And what is that going to do to me as a mom? I'm going to be short-tempered. I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to be disengaged. Like, it's not going to be good for us.
It's not going to be good.
So how do I balance the, like, I want to do fun things with my kids, but I do have to check in with myself. What can I do today with them? Is this just to stay in our jammies all day? Because that's a fun day too.
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah. And to them too. It's like my daughter, like, we're in our jammies still, and this is cool, but
I know.
We just have this pressure.
Last week was week 1 of summer.
Yeah.
And at one point in the morning, like having a slow morning, the kids are sleeping in, whatever. One of them, I don't remember which one, was like, what are we doing today? Where are we going? What are we doing? And I'm like, you know what? Absolutely nothing. We can do whatever we want. In fact, we cleaned out the playroom, which has been what I thought a few hours has turned into a few days. But we found a lot of new toys. We donated a lot of things, and it felt like a whole new experience.
Yeah.
They're playing with Play-Doh after they haven't touched in 2 years. So I feel like some of it too, at least from personal experience with the summer stuff, is like trial and error.
Yeah.
Like one summer I did too much, like camps every day, not every day, but what felt like every day. Go. Well, that actually has the reverse effect, because you're driving half the places. And like for us who work on Zoom and, by a computer, it's like, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then I did less. No, and then I didn't do enough. So now I'm like kind of in between.
Yeah. And I also think I always talk about like boundaries and how boundaries should be movable. If we set really firm boundaries or really firm expectations of what we think we should do, it's just not going to be sustainable, because every season of life looks different. So one summer, a ton of summer camps may work for you. The next summer, you might be going through something, or dynamics might be different, and you need to, pare down and have less. I think that's the important thing, is like, just because you set a line in the sand of like, this is what I think I should do or how I should do it, it can always change. Your season can always look different.
I love that. Give yourself a little grace with that. I think that applies to life.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I first started RPM, which we're celebrating 10 years this year.
Wow,
wild.
Congrats.
Thank you. I was like, Fridays off. Fridays are my day. 4-day work weeks, blah, blah, blah. I don't really think that lasted long. I think I slowly crept in on the Fridays. And then I'm like, why am I like putting that pressure on myself? Like, what if I actually don't mind working on the mornings on Fridays? And then, so I think to your point, it's like, and then there's seasons, right? Some, depending on the kids' ages and schedules and school or whatever, adjust and just like give yourself grace with like, it can change and it doesn't have to be so rigid.
Totally.
I
think we're balancing a lot. Friendships, our relationship, our kids, our careers, our personal health. And I think if we expect those all to be 100% all the time, we're never going to be able to sustain that. And so knowing that there are going to be seasons when in my marriage I can give 80%, and there's with my kids that's always, both those are always going to try to be the priority, but there's going to be times when friendships are a little bit, I'm not as engaged, or even career, that I need to step back a little bit because my marriage needs more, my husband or my kids need more. So knowing that like those percentages of how much I'm showing up in those areas are going to fluctuate through my life and through motherhood, that I have to give myself permission to have that be flexible.
Love. Preach. Okay, we're going to do a little exercise because you just had me think of something. I have a mom who has a lot on my plate, and I've been asked to join the PTC. Okay? This is hypothetical. No, it actually is. I'm just giving it as an example. Yeah. Okay? We have a hard, as moms, overachievers, all the things, we have a hard time saying no. Can you give some moms that are listening some suggestions on how to politely say, essentially, not right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really going to be talking to myself because, like, I struggle
Right?
with this so much.
Right?
And I always want to be a team player. I always want to say yes. I never
do.
want to let people down.
Yes.
Right? I think it's so important to really check in. Don't ever say yes immediately. That's my first.
Okay, I love
level of
that.
advice is
Great.
just take a day.
Let me think about it.
Because that is to me, I am, let's do it. Yeah, I'm going to, and then I have buyer's remorse.
You literally.
You know? I'm like, I should not have said yes to that. So
Yes,
give it a day,
love that.
at
Love
least a
that.
day, maybe a week, and really think about it and think about what the next year of your life looks like, or what's on your plate, how you want to show up in your life, and what is going to be a priority. If it's being involved in your kid's life, then maybe PTC is a good thing to jump into.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to really drive hard in your career, then it's probably not. I think the reality is that people are going to be disappointed in when you say no. Not forever, probably for an hour. But that feeling of, oh, I let someone down, we just have to know that, like, we're probably going to feel that. And how do we tolerate sitting in that?
Right.
How do we know that, like, in our lives, we cannot meet everybody's needs all the time? Even our own kids. If we want to always be there, we always want to make them happy, you know, the best of the best. But knowing that there are going to be times where we fall short is just something that we have to accept, and knowing that I'm going to let people down at times. That is not always mine to hold, right? They're disappointed, but I can be proud in myself and tolerate your disappointment is not something that I'm going to take on myself. I can acknowledge, I'm sorry, I wish I could help you, but I'm not going to own that as being a personal failure.
Truth. And I think with everything comes some sort of, I don't know if sacrifice is the right word, but like something's got to give with everything. So let's say you do commit to the PTC. Well, then what's going to take the back seat? Because you can't keep pushing everything to the front.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, and I also think I did join the PTC for the next year, and so
for the record, I was just using that as an example.
Now I'm doing my own self-reflection right now.
I love it.
But I had to know in my head where that ends for me, because if you jump into something like that, whatever that looks like, doesn't have to be PTC, but just knowing that. Just because I'm saying yes doesn't mean I have to say yes to everything.
Totally.
There are going to be times when I say, hey, I can't make this tonight, and knowing that that's okay. And you have to be okay with that.
You have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. And you can't, but right now, that's the thing.
Right now.
Is like maybe you're approached for something now and you're like, yeah, now the timing, not great.
Yep.
Hit me up like in 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I also think you can say that I can't do that, but this is what I can do for you. I can help on the carnival day. I can.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, give them some sort of solution.
And you don't have to. You can
Leave
say
them
no
hanging.
and say, I can't help you with anything.
Yeah.
If that's where you're at. But if you feel like I do want to help and be involved, but I can't do what they're asking me to do, then just let them know what you can do, if anything.
Okay. So that leads me to another thought. The village. The village is real.
Okay, I just want to say that I thought you said Villa, and I thought we were going to talk about Love Island for a minute. I was like, wow, this is really...
I need to catch up. No.
We're going all over.
For me. That's hilarious.
That's where my mind is. In the Villa.
In the villa. Or the Vanderpump Villa, the Love Island Villa. I don't know.
Yes,
That's
Village.
hilarious. The village.
Yeah.
They've said this forever. The village, all the things.
Where is
I'm
the village?
experiencing this so hard. Like today, one of my good friends has the girls. My in-laws have my son. That's why I'm here. Like there is,
Yes.
I'm sure you have your
Yes.
peeps too.
Yep.
What I've struggled with personally on the village is I want to pull my weight. And I'm trying. But they're also helping me a lot. I have a lot of friends that help me a lot and family. What would you say to somebody who's feeling that way? Like they're trying to help, but they only have capacity to do so much. You know what I mean?
I think we have a bad habit. I'm just speaking in generality again.
Yeah.
But I think moms have a bad habit of keeping score in their head. Oh, well, you picked up my kids this day, so then I need to, I owe her, that kind of thing.
100%.
And I think we do that in our relationship sometimes. Like with my husband, okay, he did bedtime tonight, so then I need to be on it tomorrow.
I know. Why is that? You're right.
Yeah. And it's really toxic. It's not helpful at all. I just think we have a hard time of accepting letting people do that without feeling like we owe them. I think that's like a cultural thing for us, that if somebody helps you, you should pay them back, or you should, do something to give back to them.
Literally, I feel, that's a real thing.
But I think when we find our village and we find the people that really care, and if, we're in a healthy relationship, we should not be keeping score.
Yeah.
And we should just really accept that this season is a season I need people to step in a little bit more, especially in the summer where school's out. Mm-hmm. And how can I just embrace this and not turn this into a scorekeeping thing, or that mom shame, or the mom guilt.
Preach. Wow.
It's hard.
It is hard.
So what I would say is, if you notice yourself doing that, just name it. I notice myself keeping score. That's not helpful. It's
not helpful.
My village doesn't keep score.
Yeah. I love that. My village doesn't keep score. That's great. And I've said that too, like to friends. I'm like, how can I help? Can I try it? They're like, you're fine. I'm like, no,
sometimes it makes their lives easier. The kids can play, right? So
truth. Especially as they get older, that actually is a fact.
Yeah.
I do feel like they just entertain each other.
Yep.
Yeah. This has been so good, Megan. Wow. Like, you're teaching me so many things. And this is so grateful for so many moms. The work you're doing is so valuable, and we're so grateful to have you. I'm just curious, and I don't know if you can tell me this, like with Zoom, like, do you have clients all over?
I can only see clients in California.
Okay.
So I'm licensed in California.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. There's a lot of therapists that are getting licensed other places now.
Yeah.
But I think
makes sense.
I'm good right now.
Yeah, you're like, I'm fine.
So I do have clients, in different places, and that's what is nice for virtual therapists. You can, but virtual therapy is not for everyone. Some people like to sit and talk. Even for me, sometimes with my therapist, I'd rather just go sit in her office, put a blanket on, and like chat with her.
Yeah.
So it's not for everybody, but I think, like we were saying, some seasons it's what works for people.
Truth. We're gonna do a little rapid fire. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's more like, ad libs, mad libs, whatever. Remember those books as kids? Complete the sentence, okay? A good mom is
good enough. I think we need to be a perfect mom, but a good mom is good enough.
Love that. Moms need less
judgment,
Love
less ownership of all the tasks.
Love that. Moms need more
permission to say no, permission to do less.
Love that. One thing every overwhelmed mom should stop doing today is
taking ownership of things that don't need to be hers.
Love that. One thing every mom should start doing this week.
Asking themselves what's one thing they can take off their plate that's not an emergency. One of my favorite things to do with moms is a brain dump, where they write every single thing that is going on in their head that they think that they're responsible for.
Love
and then
that.
Picking a couple things to delegate to other people.
Love that. Sometimes I feel like I'm running an emergency room.
Yes.
And it's like, which emergency is the most urgent? And then you kind of go from there. It's kind of just how I don't know. That's the best sort of like comparison I can think of.
I think that is one of our toxic traits as well, is we do feel like everything is an emergency.
Yeah.
And some of it has to be
some
done.
of it, yeah.
But
I just mean like order of priority, like who really needs me right now.
Totally.
And now my kids are older, but it used to be like the baby.
Yeah.
The baby needs me.
Yes.
The baby's crying.
Yeah.
So there's that. This has been tremendous. I'm just so grateful to have you. I'm so excited for this episode to publish. Where can people find you? Let's plug social handles and any other way you'd love for people to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Mama Therapy House. And that's also my website, mamatherapyhouse.com.
I love the name. Any fun, exciting things you're working on, goals you have?
Well, like I was saying, I just came out of a season of overdoing.
Right.
So I did write a book, which I'm really excited about. And
I'm sorry, you're just dropping that right now at the end of the episode?
I was going to bring it in, but I was like,
oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
We need to see this.
I wrote a book and it's on the postpartum experience, but it's from a faith perspective. So
Okay.
I felt like when I was navigating postpartum, there was a lot of information about postpartum, but I didn't feel like I could find something that like integrated the Christian faith into it. And like, how do I find God in the chaos of new motherhood? And so what started out as a group that we started, I wrote the curriculum for it, and I just evolved it into a book that somebody can do at home. So it really talks about it talks about intimacy after baby. It talks about relationship dynamics, attachment, mood, taking care of yourself, all those things, practical, but integrated with faith. So I'm excited for it. There's a couple tweaks I need to do, so I haven't quite launched it out there, but it is coming.
I was going to say, well, we're hopefully maybe by when this episode publishes, it might be live. We got to give people, information on where they can find it.
Yeah, it's going to be on Amazon. For sure.
Amazing.
It's called Held in His Hands, I think is what it's called.
Love that.
Should know that. But yeah, it's been a labor of love.
I was going to say, how have we written a book amongst everything else you have going on?
Like I said, I'm an overdoer. So when I don't want to feel my feelings, I just pour myself into it.
Well, is it like a workbook kind of?
It's like a workbook.
Love.
Yes. Yeah.
Love.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
I
they can reflect.
Pen to paper.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Yes.
Right.
Really do some reflective work and figure out, what you need and how to communicate that. And it really focuses on changing your thoughts from this is never going to end, this is so hard, to finding truths that you can hold on to during the week that feel really grounded and rooted in faith.
Love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
So
This is so
great.
fun. Yes.
So fun. Cheers to you, Mama.
Yes.
And
Let's
have a
survive
great
the summer.
with coffee.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on Coffee Monday today. Feel free to rate and review this episode, and we're always open to receiving your guest suggestions by submitting them on our website, coffeemondaypodcast.com, or our Instagram at Coffee Monday Podcast. And don't forget, you can now stream full episodes of Coffee Monday anytime on the brand new KC24 and CBS 47 streaming app, now available on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV.